You were not alive just hours ago.
Egypt.
You're still so jet lagged that you sleep all during the day in Egypt.
We do
And
like to
then,
take naps because Egypt is 7
whoa,
hours
whoa, whoa,
ahead
whoa.
of Ohio.
Was there a W in the name George?
So if we weren't going live from my phone right now, I would gladly let you guys hear and listen to the 2-minute video that I took of this guy snoring.
And then if she did share that, then I would gladly share the 2-hour video of this gal snoring at 3 o'clock during the day, and 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock.
There was a clip that I tried to take of him taking a nap during the day, and I went to go turn the TV down, and he must have heard me standing next to him, setting the remote down. And as soon as I put the camera right next to his face, he woke up. And then I like turned around as if like nothing happened. He goes, "What's wrong? He goes, were you charging your phone?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Why does my face look so bloated? My head looks so
You've been
round.
drinking a lot of soda, Jeremy. You should just stick to water.
Water's not safe in this country.
Bottled water, that is.
We're at a resort that there's signs everywhere.
They're even saying, "Do not drink the
this
tap
water. Do not drink the water. It is not safe." And you think I'm bloated because of the pop?
I think it's because of all the soda.
I have to, or I will die.
But
Those are the options.
You could drink the bottled water.
I have so much bottled water right now that
we do have gallons right now. We're traveling pretty heavy on water because you never know where you're going to end up.
Well, that begs the question, where in the world are we right now?
Where in the Hales are we right now, you ask?
I'd be curious to hear their guesses of where we're actually at.
Okay.
I mean, there's a door right there.
I mean, aside from being in Egypt, obviously.
We're still in Egypt.
You want them to guess what city we're in?
We're still in Egypt? I didn't even know we were still in Egypt. I don't even know what we're doing. I'm so jet lagged.
He's so out of it. It's funny. Thank you guys for joining us.
My eyes are a mess. My eyes are a terrible, horrible mess.
And maybe it's all the dust and the sand out here.
I think it's just the bloating and I'm fat.
Happy Sunday Fun Day, everyone. Here's a fist pump to you all and to all who send a super chat.
Nobody sent a super chat yet. That was a little premature on the fist pump there, George. I think you're jet lagged more than I am. Oh wait, no, you were sleeping for a good.
We don't have access to a washer or dryer, so I've been trying to manually hand wash all of our like essentials, undergarments in the sink.
You stank.
Then we both stank.
You stank. So
I smell like falafel.
Oh, it's so bad.
He doesn't like the smell of falafel.
It's so bad.
It does have a weird after smell. Okay. It tastes good, but the after smell on your clothes is not.
Clothes, hair, breathing, skin pores. You got $10 in super chats. There was a 5 and another 5.
Here's a fist pump.
Whoop, bam!
Bam.
So there's no doubt Egypt's a little different than America number one. Mm-hmm. So you want to talk about some of those differences tonight and answer any of their questions?
Well, from just observation based on all of the hotels that we've traveled at in the US, they always have self-serve washer and dryers. And so I travel with like a mini detergent bottle, a ton of quarters, and then like fabric softener sheets because I'll throw in a load. And
which we thought we would be doing laundry.
We thought we would have.
So I brought one
self-service
hoodie.
Laundry.
I brought one hoodie, thinking, yeah, I can do my laundry in Egypt, and
yeah, that's not the case here.
That does not happen here in Egypt.
Yeah, everyone hand washes their clothes and they let it air dry, whether it's on a clothesline in the bathtub or outside of their balcony.
So we did see an appliance store and there were washing machines. So there were laundry washing machines in the appliance store.
Yeah.
No dryers.
No dryers.
The people here do not use dryers, which boggles my mind because you're in the middle of two deserts.
But the hotel has to have dryers. I mean, how else would they dry all their sheets and towels? And I guess it's a privilege to have dryers.
I think everybody puts everything out on the line, which makes no sense to me because you're in the middle of two deserts and then the wind kicks up. And if your clothing is wet and the wind kicks up, then you've got dirt and dust, and everything is dirty
So
and
you're
dusty.
washing your clothes just
Everything
for it to get
is
dusty
filthy.
again.
So you're washing your clothes just
to
for
get
it
dusty
to
again.
actually pick up the dust and the dirt again, which is just mind-boggling.
And like we like to keep the screened porch open, the patio screened in, sliding door, and so much dust comes into the hotel room. So that's that, and then that drags even more dust onto our clothes. And like all the sightseeing places we go to is just nothing but dust. So we're just covered in dust head to toe.
You know what I smell like?
Falafel?
No, you smell like falafel so bad. I smell like desert.
Like Desert Storm?
Well, I mean, it depends on how you pronounce it. It might be dessert. I smell like dessert. Here, have a whiff.
So at the hotel,
You like?
I just smell deodorant. At the hotel, they do have laundry services, and then it's like you pay a la carte for every item. So like one underwear is gonna cost you like $3 to wash. US dollars.
Which is ridiculous.
So if I give them 5 of my underwears, which I don't trust anyone even touching my underwear and washing my underwear for me, that would be $15 just to get 5 clean underwear. So I've been hand washing
$7 for me to get a hoodie.
Yeah,
$7 to get a
just for
hoodie.
his one hoodie, it would cost $7. So like I looked around, I was like, let's just give them an outfit: one hoodie, a t-shirt, and jeans.
And
I'll hand wash socks and
I'm going, no way. We went from thinking we were going to be in an apartment that was $41 a night into hotel rooms that they're charging us as U.S. tourists $400 a night.
It's like quadruple the price
it's
as traveling in the U.S.
insane. But you are paying, so we never anticipated paying this much for housing. But you're paying for security
and safety,
which is huge because the hotels are completely and totally guarded and gated. And when I say guarded, I mean guarded. There's military police stationed at every hotel entrance, so they're guarded and gated. And that's not an exaggeration. There are military police, military canines, guns everywhere.
They do thorough checks when you enter and when you leave. So when you come in, they want you to pop your trunk.
It's all part of their
so
anti-terrorism.
The trunk. And then they also check the driver's ID, and then they also take a military police officer with the canine dog, and they do a lap around the vehicle.
Mirrors under the vehicles, the whole deal. So when you go to a place like this, you're paying for security, you're paying for the meals and the safety in the water, which as tourists, the security is huge for us, and especially as being Americans. And I obviously look very, very American and sound very, very American. Everybody looks at George and thinks she's Egyptian.
I blend right in.
But George blends
Italy,
in
I blended right in
with Italians. When we're in Florida, she blends in with all the Spaniards. You name it, when we go to Asia, I'm sure we'll go sometime in our lives, she's gonna look Asian. George just blends in anywhere, but I
could be a multitude of different ethnicities.
Yeah, absolutely. So from going from what we thought was going to be a $41 a night apartment to literally $400 a night in a hotel room has kind of blown the budget out the window.
I did find I did find a good deal where it was like 100 and some change bucks per night, and it includes breakfast and dinner.
Which is where we're at now.
I had to use a third party.
Where we're at now,
website.
But it's not 100 and something. It's 200.
But if we would have booked directly from the website, then it would have been like $800.
The room we're in right now, would have been $820
Booking directly
a night
through the hotel.
Through the hotel, $820 a night for a U.S. citizen.
Yeah. So booking through this third party,
we're at
website,
$200 a night
after taxes and services. They always charge like all these extra fees and taxes, which we're not used to in the U.S.
Which we're not used
We're
to
not
paying
used to the
anything
fees.
like that in regards
Yeah.
to a room either, but we're not used to needing the security. We're not used to having the need for fresh water completely and totally available to you at all times. We're not used to, there's a lot of things that we're not used to.
These weird bidets.
I don't know. I mean, you've kind of gotten used to them. So let's talk about, anytime you go overseas, and again, they want to know if we're banned yet. Listen, there's been
so many times
much to tell you in regards to military, police, security,
here.
and we're going to get to it. I mean, it's insane what they've been putting me through. It's literally insane and borderline. Coming into it, I kept telling George, you know what? We're in another country. It's no big deal. Now it's getting to a point of complete and total annoyance and racial profiling, which, again, you have to get to we'll get to that. But everybody wants to know about the food. Everybody wants to know about food when you go to another country.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I mean, one of the biggest part of traveling and getting the experiences of any culture or anywhere you go, whether it's in the same country or the next city, is the food. And
ketchup, particularly ketchup. Tasting the local ketchup. That's the most important thing.
It's been ketchup.
Is there ketchup, and can you taste it? It doesn't taste the same as at home. Everybody wants to know, does the ketchup taste the same here, right?
For me, I personally don't think it tastes the same. If anything, it's sweeter.
It's much sweeter. The ketchup in Egypt is much sweeter than back home.
Mm-hmm. And so it gives it a weird taste because I like that more vinegar-based ketchup that we're used to back in the U.S.
Much, much sweeter.
Yeah.
So that was kind of shocking for us in regards to even just ketchup. And portions.
And I even told him before we left, I was like, babe, do you want to pack a bottle of ketchup? He's like, no, we should be okay. Are you regretting that?
No comment. And portions, what are portions like compared to the United States?
Portions?
Yeah, portions. Just like portions in a meal, serving sizes, portions. What's a Coke can versus a Coke can in the United States, or a bottle of pop, or...
Well, it depends on what you get, but the cans are much smaller. Like the pop is much smaller. But I also haven't seen any overweight Middle Eastern people as well.
Serving sizes for everything are, let me see, did we have any cans in
They come big in
here?
water. When it comes to water,
Okay.
the bottles are pretty big.
So here is...
But most of the serving sizes are small.
There's a serving size for a pop can. There's my hand.
That's half the size that you would find in the U.S. or maybe 3/4.
So for me, being a giant in a small country, this is 2 gulps. This is
so
one.
Everywhere we go, he always asks for 2 because he likes to double fist.
That's 2 sips. By the way, it's 3 a.m. here in Egypt right now.
Yes, it is. We're 7 hours ahead of Ohio Eastern Standard Time.
As a matter of fact, it's also Valentine's Day, George.
It is. It is. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day to you.
I had a Valentine's Day gift in mind for him.
Oh, I did too, trust me.
But that plan did not work out well. And I mentioned that to him earlier. I was like, I'm sorry, I wanted to give you this as a gift, but that's not going to happen.
What about my plan? Okay, so moving on. Anyways, portions are much, much smaller. Serving sizes are much, much smaller. Mm-hmm. Everything is smaller when you're giant in a small world, in all reality. It is a small world after all, right? Mm. It's a small world after all. It's a small world. Okay, so one of the biggest things for me in regards to the food was realizing that utensils, or a spoon, a fork, a knife, those really are, they're not needed here. And that's part of the local cuisine. Is that the right word? Cuisine? Cuisine. Okay,
but
so
I
we're
like cuisine better.
That's part of the local cuisine is utensils are not are not needed, and it's part of their ecstasy in eating because do you want to tell them why?
Oh, because it's used as, I mean, you pretty much use
bread
for breakfast. Bread is offered during all three meals: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and it's like when you're eating your meal, you don't need utensils because you use your bread.
Everything. So what you'll see is, and you'll even, if you look back at some of the videos, even the one with the castle, which was Saturday, George is ripping the pita bread. Is it pita bread or is it just a flatbread? So George is ripping the pita bread. And if you look around the table at the meal, everybody is ripping pita bread except for me because I'm filming. And they rip the pita bread and then they pinch it around whatever it is that they want to eat, whether it's the calamari, the beets, the other nasty stuff on the table, which I say that jokingly.
Nasty. That's your opinion.
I say that jokingly.
It was delicious.
So appreciative for the meal, and I even took part of some of that calamari, which I bet people never, or not calamari. There was calamari. I've had calamari before when I was in Italy, and I wasn't a big fan of it. It's really rubbery.
Well, calamari is squid, so it all depends on how it's prepared.
Which is always going to be rubbery. I mean, that's the same thing we keep hearing about alligator.
I've had good.
And every time we get
calamari,
alligator, it doesn't taste like chicken. It tastes like rubber. And I've had
really bad. So it all depends on how it's prepared.
So utensils, eating utensils in Egypt are really null and void. They use bread and your fingers. So a piece of bread goes in your fingers. You pinch the food in the bread, and the bread is the utensil for eating, which was a new experience for me because I haven't even witnessed that with your family. You know, being around your mom and your dad.
Growing up, that's how we ate. And
with grandma.
There's certain dishes that we still eat with pita bread, but forks and knives and spoons are always readily available.
Yeah, we've always had eating utensils whenever we've been with your parents, and your parents are always using them as well. But here in Egypt, like just yesterday, I saw a group of 6 men sitting on the ground
in a circle.
Or that was today, which was yesterday because it's 3 a.m.
Okay. They were employees.
Messed up. They're employed, and they're sharing a meal, and they all are with bread. So the meal is in the middle, and they all have bread, and they all. So they
were sitting on the ground, Indian style, in a circle, just sharing a meal using just their hands and bread.
Yeah, and you don't use. Most people know you don't use your left hand in a Middle Eastern country for rude. Shaking. So you don't do this because how you doing? What's your name? Hello, Sula. So you don't do that because this hand is used to clean your backside with the bidet. So this is offensive if you ever put out your left hand towards anybody, and you eat with your right hand. And so you're looking around the circle, and everybody in the circle has bread as their utensil, eating the meal, and that's just absolutely normal. Just like for us, it would be normal to be sitting around a table with utensils. It's not wrong. It's different culture, and that's part of the fun of traveling overseas or traveling to different countries or meeting new people.
Remember when we were in Florida for the first time and we were like elbows deep in mildew, and Robbie thought it was a bright idea to bring finger foods. We didn't use utensils then.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, that's Robbie. So, that's Robbie.
We were in the U.S. eating finger foods.
He's Hungarian. Whole nother story there. So what are some of the things, I mean, everybody knows that you loved variety in your diet. What are some of the things that you've been eating that are Egyptian dishes here? So
in the morning, for breakfast, I've been having fool, which is a type of bean. Bean is a staple in the Egyptian dietary.
It comes out the same way it goes in, and it is a mess.
It's like a bean paste with like oil, and I put lemon in it, lemon juice.
I'm going to
and then I'll
tell
put
you
tomatoes and
why
like
the bidet
fresh green
is
peppers.
so important in Egypt. It's because of fool, okay? I'm just telling you, they went, let's eat fool. Oh, wait, we got a massive problem. Let's invent bidets. That's why the bidet is so important.
And then I'll have one falafel, and then I'll eat it with cucumbers.
Okay, there you go.
and
There's
beets.
another reason for the bidet in
Beets,
Egypt.
and
The
then I'll have-
falafel.
and
The
then I'll have-
falafel smells as bad as it sounds.
He tried falafel for the first time.
When it comes out, it kind of goes falafel. It goes falafel.
So then I'll have cucumbers with my fool, and then I'll have
Between
beets.
your fool and your falafel, I'm dying. Like I need housekeeping to wash some of this stuff. Like,
And then I'll have
I'm not even sure this is a dust cloud in here.
and
I
then
think
I'll
this is a
have-
full cloud.
And then I'll have like a certain cheese that we like, that
That ain't helping
growing
issues.
up we ate. We called it Gibna Rumi. It was like Rome cheese from Rome. And then what else did I eat? Scrambled eggs with cheddar cheese. That's normal. And
Yeah,
then
we
I
can
would
get
have-
eggs. We can get eggs ordered.
They did serve American coffee, so I would have that with milk. They don't know what the word creamer is. They
Creamer
just
is
say milk.
non-existent.
It's non-existent.
Yeah, but you can get milk. It's goat's milk, but you can get milk.
And then I'll just add
So,
sugar to it.
but what I've been doing with George is I'm like milking my fingers for her in her coffee. I'm like, why can't I feel my fingers?
What else have I been eating for breakfast that makes me smell?
Everything here makes you smell. Everything.
I think that's it.
So George pretty much smells like fool
And falafel.
and falafel. And if you put those words in one sentence, it smells just like it sounds.
Do you think the milk that they've been putting in my coffee is camel milk?
No, goat's milk.
Goat's milk?
Definitely goat's milk. Yeah, goat's milk. Definitely goat's milk. Yeah. So that's been interesting. But a lot of people didn't think I'd be able to survive over here in Egypt because the diet would be so different.
Yeah.
And so far, I've probably put on weight. You can see it in my face. I'm swollen.
He's been making it
I'm
through,
bloated.
surprisingly.
Yeah.
But we also, the last hotel we stayed at had a grocery store in the mall, so we bought our own junk food. So I think you've been loading
Which
up on a lot of junk food.
they got to see that.
Yeah.
So I did. So the first week here, I probably suffered a
So
little bit
all
and
of
lost
this
weight.
swelling in your face
This
is probably
is
from all
from
the
the junk
salt
food.
in the junk food that you've
It
been
is.
eating.
It is. So last week was all junk food, and it was
Oh,
like
we had junk food today too.
surviving on junk food. It was like surviving on junk food. But they probably want to know because they said I wouldn't survive without ketchup and all of that. And all those who have sent super chats, $87.98 have been sent so far. Thank you so much for your super chats and your super stickers. But they want to know ketchup. We have found ketchup. I have 3 bottles of Pharaoh's ketchup in my luggage. I actually want to take
He's
that
bringing
back.
it back as a souvenir.
I don't want to eat it. I want to take it back as a souvenir of ketchup from Egypt because it's just fun and be able to put that stuff on display. I did. If anybody watched the Saturday video where you bought an abandoned castle and you're like, my parents are gonna be so proud.
So proud of me.
I did try. As hard as it is to actually admit it, I did try caviar on a French fry. And the French fry was good.
So caviar comes prepared differently as well, and
It's mixed with beets.
he had the kind that's mixed with beets. So that was my first time trying it that way as
It
well.
was very sour, very bitter, and my palate, my tongue doesn't like sour and bitter, which is, I have a sweet tooth. I can't help it. That's why I'm with
His palate
George, right?
only loves junk
Sugar.
food and ketchup.
Yeah, but in all reality, you love junk food too, so it's very easy for us to just get junk food and be happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I know when to stop. Like I know how to eat junk food in moderation. This one right here, he'll just eat something in one sitting.
Well, if you open it, you got to finish it. It could go bad.
No.
Yeah.
That's why they created chip clips.
If you open a
I have-
10-pound bag of Snickers Don't let that go to waste.
It's not gonna go to waste.
When in Egypt,
there's a shelf life to junk food.
When in Egypt, you got to eat it. That's the rules. That's the rules. So food here is a little bit different. Eating is a little bit different. Like in Italy, when I was in Italy, dinner would be a 4-hour meal. They bring out bread first, then they bring out a meat, then they bring out a side, then they bring out fruit, and dinner was a 4-hour, literally 4-hour meal every night. Here, the meals, they're not. I don't see anybody actually partaking in like a 4-hour
You're in and out.
meal.
It's a busy country. You're in and out.
So I don't see anybody eating like Italy, even though Italy is close, culture is close. I've seen a lot of similarities between Italian culture and Egyptian culture, which makes sense because they are so close and nearby. And there's been influences throughout the years as well. But other than that, have I eaten anything else really crazy?
He won't try a whole lot. Or I'll try it and I'll tell him you're not going to like it. So don't even bother trying it.
She knows my palate so well. She's to the point of, I'm not going to ask him to try it. I know we'll spit this out. Mm-hmm. And she'll go, this, yes, you can try this. This, no, you'll never. And she knows my palate probably better than me.
So I'll try it first. And if I think he'll like it, then I'll say, do you want to try some of this? I don't ever force it on him.
And the answer is always no. No, I don't. I don't want to try it. And then
I make him try it anyway.
And she makes me try.
But I make him try just a smidge.
And people always make fun and they go, Jeremy, you're so adventurous in life, but you have absolutely no adventure in your mouth. And I wouldn't say that's entirely true.
But that's not your fault.
It's just with food.
That's not your fault. You grew up on a bland diet. So that's all your palate knew.
I tasted a pyramid. How many of you out there can say you licked a pyramid, right? I mean, come on. That's an adventure in the taste buds right there. So food is a little bit different. What about traffic?
Oh,
which
goodness.
They've gotten to see, right?
So back in, I guess you could say back in the United States, like just traveling in general, you're going to run into traffic, which typically is around rush hour, right? So if you're from the United States and you know what rush hour is, rush hour exists every minute of the day.
Every hour. It's rush
in the
24 hours.
Cities.
Which everything is an inner city because 95% of the people live directly on the Nile.
Yeah.
And it's overpopulated because there's only life. You have the Mediterranean Sea up north, and then you have what's called the Fertile Crescent. And then the Fertile Crescent, there are branches of the Nile that flow
like the
down.
Nile Delta.
And then the Nile flows down. The only reason why there is life and possibility of life and thriving in Egypt is because the Nile gives life. And the Nile would flood and overflow, and it would bring all that mud and silt in to where it was actually very bountiful. Now, they control all of that with dams now, so the flooding doesn't exist anymore. But
or the crocodiles.
Unfortunately. But there's still life all around the Nile. If you get anywhere away from the Nile, there's no life. It's desert. So that's very, 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 very conducive of overpopulation because people have to be where there's an abundance of life. I always tell you, if you ever get lost, what's the very first thing you have to look for? Water, because where there's water, there's people. And so that's number one rule if you're ever lost in the woods. Like George and I always talk about survival, how would you survive if you got lost, if we're out there for doing that? And she always goes, you have to be with me.
I'd be the weakest link.
She goes, I'd be the weakest link. I'd die and you'd be the one that survives. And I always tell her the same thing. Just go to water. Always go to water. That's where life is. That's where people are. So that's why the traffic is insane, and it is literally 24/7. The traffic is 24/7, no matter where we've been so far, whether it's been Cairo, whether it's been Giza, whether it's been Alexandria. All of it looks the same.
What about
buildings upon buildings? So everybody builds up because you can't go out. You have to build up, and then traffic is insane.
There's a ton of new development going on right now where they are expanding into the desert. Because they finally have the resources and the funds
water.
to be able to connect and to move water further into the desert. And so even in like the new developments of like New Cairo and Second New Cairo, traffic is still horrendous. The mall, we've checked out the malls there. The one hotel we stayed at was attached to a mall, and there was 11 floors. The entire mall was just packed with people. There was just people everywhere. And then the newer malls that were further away from the inner city, they were just as packed. Like everyone was there.
If you buy a new car in Egypt, that car will not look new.
Unless you're a
Every
professional
single
driver
car.
and you know how to maneuver in and out.
Even if you do, because nobody else is a professional driver. So driving is so aggressive. If you do not cut somebody off, you're not driving. And so your new car, I could never ever imagine owning a new car in Egypt because they get destroyed on a daily basis.
Renting a car was
It was an
out
option
of the
that
question.
we talked about.
It was an option, but it was out of the question because we're just gonna get into so many accidents.
And the size of vehicles is another thing. So the size of our cars in the United States, okay, so the size of a normal car in the United States is the size of their pickup truck. And you just sit there and go, that's not a pickup truck, that's a car. George is sitting there going,
I was like, could you imagine what these people would think if Ramses was here? Or Ramses 2.0 was here?
Oh man, if Ramses 2.0 was there, they wouldn't know what to do.
They wouldn't know because they're both lifted.
And
just both
Ramses
big.
2.0 could actually drive over all of them. And that would be acceptable driving in Egypt. Aggressive, make your way, push everybody around, honk the horn like crazy. The honking never ever stops.
Oh, it's nonstop.
Non-stop
There's
through
no
the
honking
night.
where we are now.
We're right on the Nile right now. That's why there's not a road, and the boats don't come with horns. So I mean, or gas pedals.
Well,
or
they
brakes.
do. Boats do have horns. They just don't use it excessively because it's not needed out where we are.
Baby, this is Egypt. Hornless boats out here in Egypt. Hornless. They're born without horns in Egypt, the boats. So we are on the water. We're fortunate enough to get away from the actual roads. And I think between the two of us, we've about had it with honking. If we never hear a honk again, all
we
through
would
the
be
night,
okay with it.
all through the day, all through the night, the honking never
not stop.
ever ends.
So we would intentionally turn on like a white noise. I have an app on my phone that like creates white noise, and you can pick and
she
choose
picked
what you
traffic jam. So we would listen to traffic jams. No. Although that would be funny if we did that.
The noise that I have preset on the app are just like waves crashing and like water running.
I saw somebody ask about crocodiles.
That probably explains why I've been getting up and peeing in the middle of the night. That's not like me.
No, that's usually like me with a bad prostate. Prostate issues. So
that makes perfect sense now why I've been waking up to pee in the middle of the night because of the sound of the waves crashing. Maybe I should switch up the white noise option. And
just don't go to traffic jam. Please don't go to traffic jam.
Honking cars.
The bed is horribly we've had 2 great beds so far, and usually when I stay anywhere that's not my own bed, my back goes out. That's an issue that I have.
So we always have to order extra pillows for him because he likes to sleep with 10 pillows around
or
him.
we buy a memory foam pad from Walmart. Well, there is no such thing as Walmart in Egypt. This bed here is horrible. It's so uncomfortable.
Which is weird because we're at a resort.
Which would have cost $820 a night unless
you would think
if
that they
we didn't
would
get
have
it
more
for
comfortable
$200.
beds.
So the bed is horrible, but not hearing traffic makes up for it. Not hearing honking horns makes up for it. So the noise pollution is just crazy with the honking horns, and the size of vehicles are so small.
Yeah, they're very compact because you have to be able to like maneuver in and out of traffic, and like I feel bad for all the tour bus drivers because those charter buses are
How do they do it?
Huge.
Which we're under the impression, we haven't asked anybody yet, but we're both under the impression that there literally are no laws on the road. Everything goes. No laws whatsoever.
There's no speed limit.
We don't think there's a speed limit except our driver. So when we went to Alexandria, our driver, every time his vehicle would go to 120 kilometers per hour, which I don't know what that converts to in miles per hour. I was going to try and do that.
I can look it up.
They probably already did it.
Okay.
Watch, in 5 seconds, it's going to pop up there like, our fans are geniuses.
So I wonder if it was like 70 miles per hour.
So every time he went to 120 kilometers per hour, a alert went off in his car, like ding, 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 and it flashed up on a screen. You're at 120 kilometers per hour. So I'm curious if that's actually the speed limit in Egypt,
or
but
like some type of safety feature.
there's definitely nobody out there enforcing any kind of speed limits whatsoever. The military police are
They're
everywhere else,
but they don't
not
stop
on the road.
you for speeding.
So that was
It's 75. Craig says it's 75 miles.
75, so that's
I guess
75
70.
miles.
Yeah.
It's a good guess.
100 kilometers is 62 miles per hour. Thank you, Rose.
So the other thing is, how do you cross the road? Like the old joke, why'd the Egyptian cross the road?
To get to the other side of
Yeah, that would
traffic.
never happen here. That would never ever happen. So the crazy thing is if you're a pedestrian and you walk out into the road,
you don't have the right.
You
of way
have
like you
no
would in
right
the
of way.
United States.
No right of way whatsoever. So in the United States, pedestrian crosswalk, you have every right of way. If you walk into the road and a car hits you, I mean, the car could just be going like this. The car will not stop. The car has every right of way. And if you get hit, it's your fault. And it's all treated that way as well. So if you get hit, the person that gets hit is going to the person in the car. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Please. You freaking got hit. Now, the cars are small. Like if a car hit me, it'd just bounce off. And I would think George broke wind from Fool or something. But, but for a smaller person, they're actually getting hit and it's their fault. Here in this culture, it's all their fault.
You got to make it quick if you want to cross the road.
And the funny thing is, some of them do it. It's like Frogger. It's literally like watching Frogger.
So what we've observed is constant jaywalking.
Oh, like no laws, no rules, no organization.
And luckily, in some areas where they do cross, traffic is bumper to bumper anyways, that cars aren't going fast enough for them to get injured. But there are areas where cars are moving at least like 10 miles per hour, that if you do get hit by a car, you will have some damage. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to hurt. Should we get into why, or if I've been banned yet, or what's been going on with all of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's dig into it.
All right. So there are military police everywhere. Literally everywhere.
With their AR rifles.
AR rifles everywhere. I mean, it is nothing to see military police everywhere. AR rifles
Which
everywhere.
is foreign to us because you don't see that back in the United States.
You see tanks. You see vehicles, military police. There are hubs, stations, little. I would call it like a little shanty shack. Just a steel roof, a little shack.
Where they back their vehicle in?
Where they'll back the vehicle in and they just stand there like at a podium with their gun. It is just a presence.
We've seen police just dressed in a standard police uniform. We've also seen police in like military fatigue outfits, like uniforms. Those are the ones that carry, well, actually they all carry the ARs.
This is just my biased opinion, and I understand it's very biased as I share it, okay? In my biased opinion, the only nice one that I've come across so far, and I'm talking personally for me, it's not George, it's me. The only nice one I've come across so far is the one that actually gave us a personal tour of the castle.
Yeah, he was really
And I think he was so old and so retired, and he was like, you know what, they put me here.
He was making everyone laugh
and he's doing that for tips too, which by the way, they're not supposed to be doing that. So again, as we say, there's no laws. Some people were saying, "Oh, Jeremy, you're disrespectful because you filmed in the mummies." Listen, there's no laws, and the security and the military police keep breaking the laws. You're going to see that in Tuesday's video, because we had a officer break the law, can you even call them laws? I mean, they're more like guidelines here. I'm not sure there really are. So every single time there is a military police officer, without a doubt, 100%. You even saw this in the wedding video, okay? We just exited the wedding. I'm part of the wedding party. and the military police are interrogating me nonstop to the point where your aunt
My
went
aunt had to
off.
step in.
She got in and went off on him. It's like, what do you think you're doing this
She's
to
not
my
afraid
family?
to say
She's like, who do
anything.
you think you are? What are you doing this to my family for? And she went off protecting me. And so it's been many times, just because I'm an American and because I'm white in this culture, in this country, the military police swarm me and I'm under interrogation almost everywhere we go. And so in the beginning it was me telling George, hey, listen, we're in another country. I'm used to this. I've been pretty much all over the world. This is pretty customary. This is past the point of customary. This is
But I think the timing
this is to a
different,
point
too.
of ridiculous
Yeah.
now, because it doesn't matter. It does not matter if we are going by any kind of officer, any kind of security. I will get pulled out. I will get pulled out. I've been patted down. I've been searched. I've been yelled at. I've been, you name it. You name it, just because I'm the big white guy and American. And so we're at a wedding.
maybe
We're coming out,
Maybe it's your gray hoodie that's intimidating.
getting
to them.
into the wedding. And then the foolishness of people going, oh, Jeremy, how dare you? You're so disrespectful wearing a hoodie at a wedding. I
That was a
love
joke.
I love that people
And it
don't
was only
understand
in it
jokes.
for
When you see
one tiny
you see a clip for 5 seconds, and those type of people, they get blocked on our channel. We can't stand that. So, anyways, but obviously we were dressed up for the wedding and we're there at a wedding. Getting into the wedding was an issue, and I did not film this. We could not get into the wedding. And the pastor, which I'm going to talk about later tonight, the pastor that was with us actually got me into the wedding, and which was a blessing. And then your aunt Camelia actually saved me from the military police coming out of the wedding.
Because
It's
he's yelling at him in
Like-
Arabic. And he's like, what?
You're just
I'm
sitting there like,
standing here minding my own business.
I'm just enjoying the wedding, just being there at the wedding. But every time the military police are going after me, so as a YouTuber, you would think, all right, Jeremy, you're not afraid to film anything, and you go after everything on filming. Well, I'm a visitor in another country, and every time the military police, like, you'll see just before it cuts off, it's starting up and then it cuts off, because I'm not going to push my luck in another country.
Right.
Not that foolish. But
especially during a pandemic.
yeah, and everything else that's going on in the world. But it is absolutely 100% of the time I will get pulled, I will get searched, I will get interrogated everywhere we go.
Well, the grocery store that we went to earlier, you see all these Egyptians just walking in with no face mask. Security stops him. I have on a face mask. Security stops him.
Forces me to buy
Forces him
a
to
mask.
buy a mask for 3 Egyptian pounds.
To even go into,
Yeah.
There's 50 Egyptians that walk in with no
face
mask. Security pulls me, forces me to buy a mask to go inside because I'm not Egyptian.
Yeah.
And the insanity of it. So we kind of talked about security and military police. Every trunk is checked everywhere you go. Hotel.
Canine dogs are there to check as well.
So, and again, I understand part of that is their anti-terrorism. They've had major major terrorism attacks in the past. And they've had major things going on within their country. So part of this is all the anti-terrorism that they're implementing. But I didn't think I was that big of a terror.
I think when he walks around, he just has like a sticky note on his forehead that says,
Frisk me.
I am Captain Fumblenuts.
What'd you just call me?
Fumblenuts from America. Just frisk me.
I ate falafel. I dare you to frisk me. So that's to the point when we
Not
went to
only
the
do you
pyramids.
attract the drama back in the U.S.
Oh my goodness, it's
attract it
crazy.
here in the
It's
US.
crazy. I can't catch a break. But to the point of when we went to the pyramids, what did our guide tell us? We had to tell everybody
That the Americans are hated and that we should be Canadian for the day.
So everywhere we went with the military police, they told everybody we were Canadian.
We were Canadian, and we went along with it like LOA.
So we had to tell everybody we were Canadian. And at one point, where was the other guard that stopped, and you said we were Canadian, or that was when we were in Alexandria.
Yeah.
And you told our driver, yeah, we're Canadian, And so
I just stuck with the whole Canadian
the
thing.
whole Canadian thing, because another military police stopped us, and
These were female military. And that was the first time I had seen that.
I have seen a few of those. So we were told on our trip to the pyramids, you're Canadian for the day.
Yeah.
Just
they give Americans even more hard time.
It was told to us, life will be so much easier if you're just Canadian for the day. So if anybody asks, you're Canadian, you're not American.
And we're okay with that. We're like, okay, whatever.
And
whatever makes our lives easier.
And then everybody
to be able to enjoy our tour.
Everybody looks at George and goes, "You're not American. You Egyptian?" And she goes, "No, I'm American."
I don't say now. I just say, they're like, "Are you Egyptian?" And I don't want to have.
We don't want friction.
Yeah. So I just say American.
So the issue
is Canadian if we're on a tour.
The issue is we are an interracial couple, and we know that. And while we don't look at each other as interracial, we just love each other. We also understand that the world sees us as an interracial couple. So while we don't see ourselves that way, the world does.
Well, it's frowned upon.
And so in where we're at, it is not
it's not accepting. It's not a melting pot like it is in the United States.
United States is a melting pot. It's nothing to see. It's nothing to see different people together.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
But here
it's so foreign to them.
So it's just safer. It's much safer.
To just say American.
She's American.
Which I am. I was born in the U.S.
But they keep calling her out on her last name. They're like, yeah, that's not an English name. Sorry, but to the point of going, well, somebody said your face is Egyptian. And
I'm like, oh yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, she's like, I get that a lot.
Just to keep moving, like I don't want to have a conversation.
But not only do you not want to have a conversation, you don't want to put yourself in an unsafe environment in a group of people
because someone can snap
just like that. Yeah. And so it's just safer all the way around as when we're out if we say we're Canadian, and if you don't declare that you're Egyptian, that you're just Canadian as well. We have found that out really, really quick as well.
It makes life more simple because then more questions start rolling in about my personal business, and I just don't want to do that. I don't want to put myself in that situation or him and I.
So I haven't been banned yet, but I feel like it's going to happen.
It's coming.
Because you're even going to see it. Tuesday's video as we travel to another area in Egypt. It did get to a point. It got to a point of frustration. I'm like, okay, enough is enough. Enough is really enough. This is too much. And so there's a point of understanding. You're a visitor in somebody else's country. They want to protect their country. It is racial profiling, and racial profiling is okay. They're protecting their people from outside influences that could be negative or harming. And so I'm not offended by that at all. I'm not one of those individuals that would be offended by it. I'm just frustrated that every single time, and that
it's kind of taking away from the experience.
I have to keep having a true Egyptian step in for me, whether it be your aunt, whether it be pastor, a tour guide, and that's kind of that's a new experience for me. So I haven't been banned yet. I'm pretty much betting on it's going to happen, or I'm going to be in Egyptian jail for something because an American with an Egyptian or something. But that's what we've been doing, is just saying we're Canadian. We're both Canadian. George is an Egyptian because it's frowned upon in regards to the interracial relationship. Again, we don't see each other as interracial. I absolutely love that George is Egyptian, and I'm proud of her heritage and her culture, and in all reality, I'm probably more Egyptian than George, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. Obviously, George is Egyptian by birth, okay, but I know more history, culture of Egypt than George does.
I was never a history buff. I never paid attention in history class. But now that I'm older, research is something that I love to do.
You love your Googler.
And so, like, I'll research more things. But yes, as far as like history and retaining history growing up, like that wasn't my thing. So that's what he means by he knows more about the Egyptian.
And really, my knowledge comes from the Bible. I mean, the end of the book of Genesis, the book of Exodus. I mean, there's so much Egyptian history and culture in there that intermingles with the Jewish culture as well. And so that's been a huge blessing being here in Egypt and seeing some of those things really right before your eyes. And you'll get to see some of that again Tuesday's video.
Yeah, it's very
All right,
cool.
what about differences in culture and customs? By the way, George was taking a risk. He's a little under the weather, and so he's not going to be going live tonight unless he does. So we'll probably go a little bit longer just because we're up now, and you're going to keep me up anyway. You're going to be like, I can't sleep. I slept all
Oh,
day.
I can fall back asleep.
You're gonna be,
My eyes are heavy. I need like toothpicks to hold them
watch a
open.
movie with me. I slept all day. I'm like, all right, here we go again. So what about cultural differences?
Well, as far as like tourism and like places to go tour, like whenever we've gone to some place that's like an amusement park or some type of touristy area, they always have an employee there ready to take a picture of you with their own camera, not your own personal camera, right? And they don't expect tips. Like you're here, they take your personal phone. And again, this has only occurred at like the tourist attractions where they take your phone and want to take a picture of you, but then expect a tip when you didn't even ask for it.
And I mean this in the nicest way possible. They're beggars. So you can either go and panhandle in the street, or you can go to the tourist attractions and then grab. And this is what they do. The people actually, I think it's extremely rude.
And if you don't tip them, they will follow you
so
and keep saying.
So they grab.
tip.
They literally will grab. So we landed yesterday. We were on another flight. We landed. We were waiting for our taxi to the hotel.
They don't have
somebody.
So the city that we're in, they don't have Uber's not available.
So somebody comes up and goes, "You're going to the Hilton?" And we said, "Yes." Grabs our luggage. I think it's an employee. I think it's the employee that's taking us.
Well, I'm thinking it's the driver.
So we're thinking it's the driver, and then grabs our luggage and then takes us to another vehicle. The driver is coming to us
with the Hilton sign and my
with
name
his
on
sign
it.
and then and her name on it. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, I guess they sent two people. Puts our luggage in the back of the van and then looks at me and he goes, "Money, tip." And I'm going,
We never
I
even
asked him,
you
I was like, "Are you with him, the driver?"
He goes,
"No.
No.
And I'm sitting there and in my mind, I'm conflicted. I'm going, I'm tired. I want to get to the hotel. Just give him whatever. And at the other point, I was like, I cannot believe the audacity of people. Like, I didn't ask you to grab my luggage. I didn't ask you to do anything.
Right.
And now you're begging me for money.
If you do something like that in the U.S., like that just would not fly.
Everybody is grabbing everything. You have to keep your hands on everything. And
you have to be aggressive and say no.
Yeah, you have
But
to.
even if you say no, they still insist on taking your luggage for you.
So like today, so that is becoming an annoyance as well.
Yeah.
So it's fun and we've goofed around with it a little bit. Today somebody said $1, and I said no, and he's like, "It's only $1." I said, "Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 5." And then he was mad and walked away. So I've learned now, just reverse haggle and they'll leave you
They'll
alone.
stop.
They'll stop. So reverse haggle and they'll finally stop. But again, if anybody wants to travel to Egypt, if you want to look at any of these places that you're seeing, the most important thing is keep your hands on all your stuff at all the times, because everybody will grab everything from you and expect money from you.
Yeah.
And it is nonstop. Everybody expects money for everything. Whether you're going to the bathroom, you have to pay to go to the bathroom. There's going to be somebody in there who's going to then try and give you a paper towel to dry your hands, or you have to pay for toilet paper. They'll hold the toilet paper so you don't have it. And again, most of these people use a bidet. So if you're a foreigner coming in, now you've got toilet paper, they're going to expect money for toilet paper. It's as simple as that. Even using the bathroom, you're paying somebody and you have to tip somebody for absolutely everything. And it gets absolutely insane. So Tuesday's video, you're going to see a security guard actually break the laws, and then I turn the camera on and I start filming him because he's begging for a tip. And then I start filming him, and then he runs away from the camera. He goes, no, 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 no. And all of a sudden, so we're learning turn the camera on when they're begging for a tip, and they'll run because they're breaking the law, and then reverse haggle, and they'll stop as well. So that's definitely very, very different. People grabbing everything from you for money, and that's becoming. If we were here for a week, it'd be like, oh, that's cute.
When we went to the Great Pyramids, some just random local came up, put his scarf on his head, and was like, take picture, take picture. And then he wanted us to pay him to take a picture on our phones. And we're just like, okay, this is getting too much. This is becoming way too much. And Jeremy was like, I should have known better. And
I should have known better because most likely he was a pickpocket, but there was nothing in my pockets.
And luckily our tour guide yelled at him for us and was like, what are you doing? Stop, stop. And he's just like, COVID. Like, why are you putting your scarf on his head, on his face?
So another crazy thing is line cutting. Line cutting is a thing in Egypt, and it's a major, major thing.
Oh my goodness. And I don't know, like when we were at the grocery store, some old lady we were in the express lane. I think I had 3 items and she had like 2. And there was like maybe 4 people ahead of me, and then there was me, and then she decided that she was going to try and cut in front of me. And I was like, oh, no, no, no.
So George looks at me and she's like, can you believe this
There
rudeness?
was like maybe 4 people behind us.
So then the lady looks at me, and me, obviously, my first instinct is to protect George, right? So
this is just one example of the line.
One example. So the lady looks at me, and I look at her, and I don't say a single word. I just shake my head. I go, no, and I point her to the back of the line. But then I talked to it later with George, and I was like, you know what? Because George was going, can you believe how rude these people are? And I went, well, maybe.
Well, because she took her items and like bumped into me,
just trying to cut.
And I was close. There was no 6 feet between myself and the girls in front.
We're in line.
We were literally in line.
But then I was telling George, I was like, well, maybe in Egyptian culture, and we don't know this. Maybe in Egyptian culture, you let the elderly cut, and it's rude not to let them cut. We just don't know.
You know what? Back in the U.S., if I was standing in line, not an express lane, but just a regular lane, and an older lady had like 2 items, and I had an entire shopping cart. I've done this many times. I always let people go ahead. Sure, no problem. No matter what age you are. But the fact that I had just as many items as her, and then she pushed me.
It's very aggressive.
I didn't like that.
So even in the airport, remember you were charging your phone. I was like, well, I'll go get you something to eat and something to drink. Even when we were in the airport, I'm standing in line at a cafe to get George something to eat and something to drink. And there's 2 or 3 Egyptians just cutting me at the register. And I wish I spoke Arabic. I wish I spoke Arabic. I mean, I know a couple words, but it's probably best that I only know a couple words because I'm twice their size. I literally just want to grab them and throw them.
If some of these people are just oblivious.
But I'm to a point. So even though I want to grab them and throw them because I think it's so rude in American culture, I have a feeling, again, we keep talking about cultural differences. I have a feeling it's not rude in Egyptian culture, except your aunt, Tony, was telling me, George.
She even said, she's like, you have to know your rights. These people can't just keep cutting.
So even Aunt Camelia is like, you have to know your rights in this country, and has been telling people off for cutting her.
Oh, yeah.
And just like nonstop line cutting and things along those lines. So I have a feeling if you don't stand up for yourself, it's probably like driving.
If you don't get as aggressive as they are,
then they're going to run all over you.
People are just going to run all over you.
So it's probably like driving in the streets. If you're not an aggressive driver, you're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah. So that's what I said. Maybe it comes because you have to bogart your way through traffic to get anywhere, that they do that with their bodies.
They think of it like driving.
Yeah.
Less horns. So that's always a good thing as well.
So that's been a culture shock.
What about the speakers that go off at 4 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
And all throughout the day?
I feel like prayer is important no matter what religion you are, but do it privately. Like, don't put it on the speakers 6-7 times a day at 4 a.m., as early as 4 a.m., waking everyone up. We've heard it in every city that we've gone to.
It's broadcasted over the speakers everywhere.
And there's multiple speakers, and it's beyond, I feel like it's very rude. They don't take into consideration other people.
Which, again, cultural differences. So in the United States, we would consider that really rude. You're blaring speakers all over.
There's noise ordinances.
So we have noise ordinances, yeah. So
here, not so much.
There's no noise ordinance here, not at all. So very, very different culturally. Even here, there are people peddling or selling or side hustling in the middle of the road.
The freeway.
Whether they're selling Kleenexes or water, or everybody is selling something everywhere. That's kind of, we're not used to that in Ohio.
We've seen that in Florida with fruit, like
Yeah.
water and fruit.
But to the extreme and the level here in Egypt, that we have never seen anything to that level. Nothing to that level, where they're literally in the middle of the road and trying to sell you anything and everything. And whether it's, I mean, it could be simple, just a little thing of Kleenex like you carry around. Just a little thing of Kleenex. So I think the Egyptian people should be very, very proud of their entrepreneurship, because they got side hustle upon side hustle upon side hustle upon side hustle. And again, in my perception, I could be completely wrong, I think part of that is because they're not getting government assistance, which I think is healthy, because it forces people to actually be entrepreneurial and start a side hustle and generate income instead of relying upon the government for those things. Our government wasn't established for us to rely upon the government for our funds and our money. Our government was established to protect us, so that we could go out and raise our own money. And so I think that's a very positive thing here in the country, that the people are so entrepreneurial. But I can't say that I would probably buy a little packet of Kleenex from anybody in the middle of the road either. I'm not going to just stop in traffic.
There's something about the sand that just gets your sinuses going, because I needed it when we were visiting the pyramids. All of a sudden, my nose just started running everywhere. And luckily, our tour guide had a pack. He's like, you're going to need these.
He's like, I just bought these yesterday on the side of the road. Probably the biggest difference is the dryers. We've already talked about that. We have not seen a clothes dryer yet in the entire country.
Yeah. I'm sure the hotels have them, though. Because when housekeeping came earlier, I told her she didn't have to clean, but I do want fresh towels, and she did.
Oh, they were freshly
they
wet.
Were nice and
oh wait,
hot.
They were dry.
They were fresh out. Okay. They were fresh out of the dryer.
But we haven't physically seen a dryer yet.
Right.
We've not seen a dryer yet. And probably the other thing is with the Egyptian people, these people have no issues in their life at all. You know why? Because everything is no problem, no problem, no problem, no problem, no problem. Everything is no problem in Egypt. Everything. So that's a pretty big difference there. That they have no life issues at all. Everything's no problem. Which we keep joking around and saying that, and Wandala and Sura.
Maybe later.
What about the smoking?
Oh yeah. So I don't know what it's like in other countries aside from Egypt, but I'm sure this applies to many of the other countries. But in the United States, there's a lot of places that have zero tolerance for smoking. And on the plane
there's zero tolerance on a plane.
There's zero tolerance on a plane, but they don't care. They light up.
And somebody lit up.
Yeah.
Somebody lit up.
People have been smoking in the hotel rooms, and they're non-smoking hotels.
The hotels are all non-smoking. Everybody lights up.
Someone lit up on the airplane and is smoking on the airplane. It's mind-boggling to me that people would even do that, and it's just, I don't know. It's for me, I think it's inconsiderate.
Their weekends are different than ours.
Weekends are different.
When is their weekend?
In the United States, it's Saturdays and Sundays is the weekend.
Except if you're fun employed, it's every day.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I guess you could say, like starting Friday night.
So their weekends start Friday or
Thursday
Thursday
evening,
night.
Friday
Friday and
Saturday.
Saturday is their weekend. So Friday and Saturday are the big weekend days. And you can't tell the difference in traffic. It's all the same.
It doesn't
change.
It doesn't lighten
It
up.
does nothing lightens up. Anywhere we're at, it's all the same. But their weekends are different comparative to ours, which is it's interesting, but I don't. Nothing really changed. I didn't see any
We
really
haven't noticed a
changes.
difference,
Yeah.
no. There may have been like maybe an hour, maybe a 5-minute time slot where we didn't hear any honking. It was a miracle.
That's because you had a pillow over your head.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Oh, and the earplugs.
yeah, and the earplugs.
That's right. I had an extra pair.
And the noise app. And the noise app. And all right, what about I keep seeing the people in the videos, these ladies, they're wearing head coverings. What's that
the
all
head
about?
covering. So for what I know is that like in the Muslim culture, the Islamic girls wear the head coverings. But what I'm finding out, our tour guide told us that even the Christian women wear the head coverings because it's a sign of what's the word?
Modesty.
Modesty.
Modest is hottest. So also we learned that Egypt is now 90% Islam and 10% Christian, which I didn't even think it was anywhere near 10%
And there's a couple of Jewish
Christian.
sprinkled in.
Yeah, I didn't think it was anywhere near that much as far as Christian. And so, but yeah, we did learn that the Christian girls, I mean, again, I think past the aspect of what the Islamic religion would require as modest, I think it's just part of culture now. So regardless of whether you're Islamic or whether you're Christian, it's just part of culture. You wear what you wear. This is what's made, and that's what you wear. Kind of like in our culture, what the Hale's culture we wear.
Or the head
hoodies.
coverings. The head coverings could mean a symbol of being married as well, like how we wear rings.
What? Where's your head covering then?
I have it.
Oh, that's right.
I have it.
That's right.
I brought one.
That's right. Okay. So that's been interesting to find out as well. Very, very interesting. And the other interesting thing that I think in regards to Egypt is everybody is our friend.
My friend.
No problem, my friend. No problem, my friend. My friend. My friend. My friend.
Because they all call each other Habibi, and Habibi translates to one of the sayings of like my friend.
So we had the original driver that picked us up from the airport when we first got to Egypt, and then he took us to the first apartment, and it was a nightmare, absolute nightmare to find. Wasn't on GPS. It was in a dark alley in a very rundown area in Giza, and I gave our driver a $20 US $20 tip, which our ride there didn't even cost that much. And so with the conversion rate times 15, he was elated in the tip. And I thought, for us, $20 is nothing. For him,
nothing.
What he did for us was
like a 2 to 3 day salary. So he's like, oh, thank you, my friend.
So we asked him to actually drive us to Alexandria as well. And so George reached out to him and said, hey, can you give me a quote?
Because I felt comfortable because he knew how to maneuver.
Took care of us.
He knew how to maneuver in and out of the crazy traffic. He seemed really nice.
And so we asked him to drive and be our driver all day, a 12+ hour day into Alexandria.
It was like a side gig for him.
Over a 3-hour drive there, over a 3-hour drive back, and we asked him for a quote. Well, anytime you get a quote from anybody in Egypt, it's always going to be a high quote. We always know that. You negotiate and you haggle. So he gives George a quote, $140 US.
Round trip for the both of us.
All day. And he has to drive for us all day. He's working for us all day.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, normal people would haggle that price. George goes, 140 sounds great. So
because I did the research and looked to see what other companies were charging. Our hotel was charging $175 per person.
So we booked him at 140, no questions asked, which he was probably thrilled at that point.
He was with us for a total of 12 hours.
So he's on the phone and doesn't know that George understands, some Arabic. And he's got, 10 calls while he's with us. And they're all asking, his friends, his buddies are all asking, what are you doing? And he's on the phone. He's going, I got Americans. I'm taking them to Alexandria. And they're all asking him, how much did you charge? And he's like, 140. 140. And so So, and they're all asking him, have they paid yet? Have they paid yet? And
So
he's going, no, no, no.
One of the best things about not admitting that I'm Egyptian and that
You
I
can hear the
understand
conversations.
that I understand some Arabic is that to try and see if they're gonna talk crap about us or just to see what they're talking about. And so far, no one said anything bad.
Well,
Except for one person.
we had one person at the wedding that was extremely drunk, saying racist comments about
So
about our
all his
relationship.
conversations to his friends was the same.
And
I'm with these Americans, and I charged them this much.
So he was beyond, elated that we agreed to 140.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when it was all done, I gave him $200 cash, US dollars, and he just
you made his year.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, my friend, my friend, my friend, my friend," and he keeps messaging us now. And he's like, "You need anything, my friend? You need anything?" I told George, I said, "Well, we might as well just bring him back to the United States and have him drive Ramses for us. And like, he's driving here in Egypt, he'd probably do great." I was like, "So we'll just bring him back with us. We'll have a personal driver."
We treated him to lunch.
We took care of his lunch. Well, we meant to pay for his lunch, but Aunt Camelia and Danny George ended up doing that.
Yeah.
So
which was very nice.
We paid for his tickets to get into everything with us, and so we had a ton of fun with him. And he is our friend, which has his apparently everybody here. So that's another interesting cultural thing is if they find out you speak English, it's my friend, my friend, my friend. They do know my friend.
So to have a driver for 12 hours, a little bit over 12 hours, to stay with us all day to take us to all the locations we wanted, 140 seemed like a deal for us.
And again, I would emphasize. Some people out there viewing right now, you might be like, "Oh my goodness, you could have gotten that for $50." Well, that's true, but the value of having somebody that we already trusted with our lives, okay, in a very bad neighborhood, who got us where we needed to be, and the issues that I keep having with the military police. Oh, I'm not having the issues. I mean, they pull me aside, and to have somebody who can actually communicate and be that extra security for us is priceless. And so it's money well spent and invested.
And not to mention, not to get into any accidents.
No accidents, no trouble, no problem.
The car didn't get towed.
And he's my friend. So,
have we seen any tow trucks?
No. I'm not sure they
exist.
I'm not sure they exist. Okay, funniest moments so far. What are some of the funniest moments from our trip so far?
There's been a lot of funny moments. It's hard to just pick one or two or three, but the one that sticks out the most when we first got here was these young kids. There had to have been like a field trip, many field trips there that day, and they were all like trying to get his attention. And you can just hear them on the side like, hello, hello, trying to get his attention. So his attention, not mine.
All day, George and I now
These
say
were like
hello.
Teenage boys, like maybe 11, 12, and 13. Trying to get his attention. They're like, hello.
They've never seen a white guy before.
And so we stopped to take pictures.
They're from inner city Cairo. They've never seen a white guy before.
And so they all have smartphones, and they come up to him and they're like, Surah, which means picture in Arabic, and he's looking at me like, what do they want? I'm like, they want to take a selfie with you. So that was funny. So like now we're always like, every time I want to take a picture, I give him the phone. I'm like, Surah.
So obviously my size, anybody who has met me, anybody who has seen us on YouTube and then meets us has always said the same thing. Holy
George
cow,
is much shorter
you're much shorter,
you're much
and I'm much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I never knew you were so big, and I'm 6'2", you're 5'2", and so, but God built me well.
He's a husky boy.
So the kids had never probably seen somebody white and big like that. And so I let them get their pictures with me. I'm used to that, being all over, working with kids and all of that. And then they were asking, well, can we get a picture with her? And so I told the kids, I was like, I will break you. And so the kids were like, oh no, because I'm so big and they're small. And so I told George later, I was like, I should have taken one of them, thrown him up in the air like a baby, which would have been ease with me. I could have easily, just had fun with them that way. But they had fun goofing around as well, because I told them if they tried to get a picture of George, that I would break them, and they understood it and repeated it back in Arabic, and they're okay. So
they backed off, but they were like groupies just following him around, not me, him.
Which we've had pretty much everywhere that we have gone so far.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we should think the military police are groupies and security are groupies, or no? No. Okay.
Not so much.
Not so much. Not so much. So we've got probably a million inside jokes just from being here in Egypt that we could never share with anybody.
Oh, we've created more lists on our mega list.
Fertility god. They're actually going to see a clip. They're going to double sword fertility god. They will see that in Tuesday's video. Now, whether
Which
they
today
actually
is Monday in Egypt.
Today's Monday in Egypt. Video. It's past 4 a.m. in Egypt. So tomorrow. So for us, it's tomorrow. They'll get it Tuesday, Eastern Standard Time. At 5:30, when we always release. So the crazy part is, I don't know if our viewers are really viewing the videos. I've said this in the past. Like, if you ever watched Lost, there are so many subliminal things in Lost, and there are so many Easter eggs in Lost. Well, my mind works that way, and especially when I have the camera, there are so many Easter eggs in these Egypt from the very beginning, and I'm emphasizing that from the very beginning. And some people have caught on to some of them, but from the very beginning, there are so many teasers for things to come in the future. There are so many Easter eggs. Like, if you're like, oh man, I really think I know Jeremy and George, there are things that are in the scenes for moments on purpose as an Easter egg for the true fans that actually pay attention to those things. There are things in every single video. There are things that are in the videos for you and I that you and I will only remember, because the reality is we take the videos for you and I, and then we place it out there. It's a scrapbook of our lives, and then if people want to watch, they can watch it. They want to be a part of it, as long as they're positive. If you make a negative comment, you're gone. That's not part of our environment here at What the Hales. But as long as you're positive and you want to interact with it, then you're more than welcome to. But the reality is we do it to scrapbook our lives.
Sure. But
there's so much more and deeper levels and layers in every single video. Every single video, from the very first one, from when we were leaving for Egypt, that I'm curious if most fans are even catching a lot of it, which I know it's there because I intentionally place it there and put it there. And it's that way in almost every video on What the Hales. There's so much more in layers of things to grasp and to gather, and that's just the way my mind works. For whatever reason, it's just the way my mind works, and I have a tremendous amount of fun with it to see if anybody will catch it. Like, some have. There was one thing that I did in four videos. Only one person out of hundreds and thousands caught it. Only one person. So we've had so many inside jokes from this trip. You're getting tired.
Yeah, I
this
told
is
you.
Usually when you're awake.
When we're done with this live, I can go right back to sleep.
All right, well then, give me some catchphrases then. What are some catchphrases that we've learned from this trip? Because we have so many catchphrases like fun employment.
Well, you tell me.
Very, very funny, Jeremy. It's very funny.
Why don't you tell me some catchphrases, Jeremy?
You tell me.
You tell me.
You tell me.
I asked you first.
I asked you second.
Actually, you asked me first.
I asked you first, so there. You tell me.
Well, I asked you second.
I asked you after you asked me second.
Gentlemen first. Gentlemen. Gentlemen first.
Ladies with foul farts first.
Foul or full?
Full farts. Full farts. And falafels.
Falafel farts?
Yeah, falafel farts are the worst. Oh my goodness, they're so bad.
Someone was like, oh my god, I can't believe George let Jeremy release that morning update clip. The day of the wedding.
That was a funny clip.
Those were some falafel farts. I haven't had falafel in forever. Like, I don't think I've had falafel since my grandma was alive.
I would be very thankful if you never have it again.
Now I remember why I don't eat falafel. It's pretty embarrassing.
So
Pretty
$1,
embarrassing.
$1 is catchphrase.
Maybe
Maybe later. $1.
They try and sell
Maybe
you
later.
something, and when you say no politely, they're like, maybe later. Like, maybe you'll change your mind and come back and eat.
Very
All
good.
right.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good.
Mm.
Very good. I give you good deal. I give you good deal.
Price.
I give you good price. I give you good deal. I was telling George today, I was like, it's
They
amazing.
don't say deal, they say price.
As I told George today, I was like, it's amazing. Nobody has a bad deal in this country. It's like nobody is overcharging anybody.
I give you
crazy.
extra price.
Nobody is upcharging anybody.
But
because
you are. Because you're reverse haggling.
Yeah, I'm reverse haggling now. So $1. No, I give you $5. So that's been fun. And Sura.
Everyone that he's done that to just turns around and shakes their head.
Finally.
No one's like, okay.
They're relentless. They are relentless. And so we found a way to get them
to back off a little bit.
And the most part is, like, I'm 6'2", George is 5'2". George is slow. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I've got longer legs, and so when I'm striding, moving forward, and I think she's with me, she's not.
I'm taking pictures.
And then all of a sudden, somebody's sitting there, bantering her or haggling her, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So I go back, and I'm probably a bit
no
overprotective.
Does not mean no here. When
No.
you say no, it means yes to them.
Except mostly when I say no,
when
like
you
I'll
say
no,
no,
I'll look them straight in the eye.
They
and
back
no.
off. But for me, if I say no, that doesn't mean no.
They will grab your hand. They will put stuff in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just it's very intrusive.
When we were coming out of the restaurant, some woman was trying to sell flowers, like literally try to put a flower in my brother's
George's
hand. And he kept saying no,
and
to the point where she tried to
put it in the hand,
and he didn't grab it,
and he didn't grab it and
fell
drop on the ground.
Yeah,
she would not stop.
He kept, she was very aggressive, but he kept telling her in Arabic, "I don't have any money. I don't have any money. I don't have any money to give you." And she's like, "Please help me out. Please help me out." He's like, "I don't have any money. How am I going to help you out if I have no money to give you?"
They will literally physically take your body and
place
put
the item
things
in there.
And I'm not okay with that. And like George even said today, she's like, you're so protective. Were you saying it in a negative way or a bad?
No, in a good way. Because you said something, and I was just like, "That would never happen."
We were
You're
joking.
Like, yes, it would. And I'm
She's
like,
like,
no,
she goes, "I'm getting sicky," which she says every day. If you know George, that's something she says every day. It means nothing to me anymore.
I'll have like a tickle in my throat, and I'm like, "I'm getting sick."
And so I was like, "Oh man, wouldn't that be interesting if you get a positive COVID test? You have to stay in Egypt. I get a negative one, and which, by the way, you cannot get back in the United States without a negative
Even
COVID
if you're
test.
fully
You have to test
vaccinated,
again.
which we're both fully
We
vaccinated.
cannot get back into the States without a negative COVID test. And so I told her, I was like, well, yeah, I guess I'm going back to run the business, and you'll be here in Egypt. She's like, no, you would never. She's like, you would never.
You would never leave
She's
me.
like, you're way too protective. You would never do it. I said, I guess we'll find out, won't we?
He wouldn't. Jeremy's so overprotective of me and like his close friends and his loved ones. Like, he would never let that happen.
We'll find out. Might be a good video. Might be a good video. All right, other crazy things.
You wouldn't.
You don't know that. You don't know until it
I
happens.
already know that.
So they want to know, plot twist. They want to know about crocodiles. Have we seen a crocodile yet?
No, but what we did learn today from our tour guide was they built this dam in Aswan, which is, I'm going to give you guys a hint, which is probably like a 3-hour drive from the city that we're currently in now. That's where they built a dam. So the Nile crocodiles are in Aswan, further south in the Nile. So you'll never see a Nile crocodile, which we were hoping to see
Very much
from
so
like
hoping.
Aswan, Egypt, all the way up north to like the Mediterranean.
They're all blocked by the dam.
Mm-hmm.
That dam. Can't see a crocodile. Other crazy things that have happened is you're in a desert. We're literally smack dab in between two deserts.
Yeah, Egypt is 95% desert.
It doesn't rain, and yet we had almost 3 days of solid rain.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that. How rare is that? We're smack dab in the middle of the desert, and
it's unusual weather.
Very, very unusual.
So it makes me wonder, like, maybe we are the culprits of bringing cold weather with us, because every time we go to Florida, people are like, this is unusual weather. Like,
do you think that's
it
why
never
the
gets that
military
cold.
police keep searching me?
Because we're bringing back weird weather.
They're looking for weather in places that weather usually isn't found. I'm just saying. Just saying. One of the things that I think has shocked you is the lack of hieroglyphics and the lack of decoration in the pyramids.
Like the
Remember when we
decorative
were in the
artwork?
pyramids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ancient pyramids, I thought for sure would have more hieroglyphics and like more paintings.
You just thought they would have more
inside, and that wasn't the case. So I was a little surprised about that.
But what
that was a
they're
different
going to
time.
find out,
Mhm.
they'll find out on Tuesday where all the hieroglyphics truly are.
Mhm.
And just to give you a teaser, the ornate decorations and the stories told in hieroglyphics, they were in the temples. And the temples were even more ornate because they were for the gods.
Mhm.
So we know in Egyptian history and Egyptian culture and Egyptian religion that they had a god for almost everything. Again, these are man-made gods. These aren't the god. Okay, so we're not talking about our actual creator God. The Egyptians made up different gods for different things, whether it been Sobek, whether it was Ra, whether it was, Ra was the sun god. And
there was a flower god. There was a rose
there's
god.
There's a god for everything. They made up a god for everything.
God. Yeah.
And if any of you are scholars in the Bible, you would understand that Paul writes in Corinthians that those in Corinth were the exact same way. They had a god for everything. They even had a monument for the unnamed god if they forgot a god. Mm. And so a lot of that culture and history, actually, you can see that throughout the ages. And the ornate decorations actually are in the temples, not the pyramids. The pyramids were for death, and the temples were for worship of these man-made gods, which is incredible to see the ornate decorations. It's sad to think it was misplaced, and frankly, I would have loved to have known that they were actually worshiping the one true God. Mm. So, that being said, the other crazy thing is nobody in this country, even if you see us in videos wearing masks, nobody in this country cares about a mask. Unless you're me going into the grocery store and security makes you buy one for $3.
Well, at the museum, I got yelled at because I pulled my mask down, and
did you?
Yeah, he told me to put my mask back up when we were at the Mummy Museum.
I don't remember that at all, because we were at the Alexandria Library and the museum down there, and nobody cares. So they have a sign, you have to wear a mask to go in. Nobody's wearing a mask. And if you look in the videos, like, we're sometimes wearing them, we're sometimes not.
Well,
George is wearing them.
When you're talking, your
annoying.
mouth pulls it down, so sometimes your nose is exposed.
George is wearing her mask because she doesn't want to smell all the smoke.
Oh my
the smoke
goodness.
Is such an
the
irritant.
Entire mall smelled like cigarette smoke. And so I'm walking around the mall with my mask on because it smelled like cigarette smoke. And I'm just like highly allergic. I'm hypersensitive to it. It gives me a headache.
So if you see us wearing masks, it's actually because of the smoke and I think the other part of it is trying to hide some of our identity to not get frisked everywhere we go. Like, even when we were in the mall, and this is not an exaggeration, we were in the mall, and if we went into a store, so George was looking for a dress, she wanted to buy a dress. If we went into a store, the workers would follow me.
Oh my gosh, they were
within
so awkward.
4 feet of me and would not remove themselves from me. Now, you had other people go into the store, and you would think, oh no, they're just there to help you. No, they weren't. Other people would go in.
Weren't following the other customers.
Asians would go into the store. We saw an Asian go in. Nobody got followed. The only person that was getting followed was me. Mm-hmm.
So then I was questioning, well,
maybe store. We're not talking about one store. We're talking about how many dress stores did we go in.
We went to so many dress stores that it's not common for the male to go into a dress store with a female, and there's like a lot of segregation. That was the only thing I could think of.
And I will not let George out of my sight. So regardless, I mean, I'm going to be in the dress
See,
store
told
with her.
you. He just admitted it. He would never leave me
For
here in
your
Egypt.
safety.
He would never leave me here in
You
Egypt.
you did get your nails done. You got your nails done at a nail salon, and the door said women only, and so
It said ladies only, no children allowed, and there was no waiting area for him to even sit.
So there was a restaurant next to it, and I sat in all the smoke of everybody smoking, which I don't like smoke at all either.
So the smoking in the malls were common, like with every restaurant.
Everywhere, everybody, every place. Which if you smoke, that's your choice.
Nothing against people that smoke, but
we just don't. So for us, so it's our sensitivity. But I sat there and waited. Like every person that came out of that door, I made sure she came out that door. So, but that's because we're in a foreign country. I mean, if we were in Ohio like that and the door said women only, do you think I would do the same thing?
No, I go to the nail salon by myself.
See? It's just because we're in Egypt and I want to make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
I'm your bodyguard.
You are my bodyguard, and you've been doing a great job, Jeremy. I love you for it. Happy Valentine's Day.
Do I get a kiss? Whoa! Okay. All right. So nobody wears a mask here. All right. Favorite memories. Let's get into your favorite or favorite moments.
Favorite moments.
It's got to be for you, solid poops.
Well,
be honest, because that first week was rough.
When we first got to Egypt, let's just say I didn't have any healthy poops.
How you doing now?
I'm fine now.
Must be the falafel.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be all the beans and the falafel.
Oh man, life is rough. Life is rough. When you're old.
So he's got a scent of a hound dog. Like, talk about hypersensitivity. Like, he can smell everything.
With a nose this big, you can.
I can shower, wash my hair, and shower, and he could still smell falafel like seeping through my pores.
100% true. My superpower is sense of smell. I have a very, very, very heightened sense of smell. So you're getting old and up there in age when you're happy about a good BM.
A bowel movement.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. That's so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. So that's a favorite thing for you.
Something worth bragging about.
I gotta say for me, while I'm very, very happy for you in what's happening with the solidification of all your full and falafels. Yeah, I gotta say one of the favorite moments for me was actually meeting some of your family. Like your Aunt Camellia, she has such a sense of humor, and I think she actually got my sense of humor. Like she was goofing around with me. She got my sense of humor, and
she has a big personality.
Big personality.
I was telling him, I said, whenever my aunt and my mom get on the phone with each other, they're on the phone with each other for hours just cracking up. So
your cousin Danny George had a ton of fun with Danny George. Yep. I think he's a common adventurer, as somebody who loves adventure. He loves to travel. So I've been on Danny George, which I know a lot of you saw. Don't get him mixed up with Tony George. I know they look identical, but they're...
So Danny George is my cousin,
and Tony George is
my brother. He's one of my brothers, because I have 3 brothers. We both have 3 brothers.
So Danny George literally has this wanderlust for traveling the world, and he travels mostly by himself. And so we actually talked to him. He's in Turkey right now. We talked to him. We were like, maybe we'll just go over to Turkey with you. But we're where we are now, and not.
I had already booked the flight to come here.
So we talked to Danny George. I was like, man, you've got to get a channel. He works at the post office in California right now and has this passion and this love for traveling. So when he starts his channel, we'll let you know. And
I'm sure you guys will see him featured on our channel a little bit more, because we plan on going out to California.
We want to go to the Redwood Forest.
For a pre-planned trip that we had already had, and we invited him to come with us.
And then he and I were talking today. He wants to go caving with us into the Devil's Pinch as well.
He wants to go spelunking?
We were talking about that. Yeah, he wants to go spelunking in October.
Spelunking.
So that would be fun to take him into the Devil's Pinch. You think your cousin would do okay?
I don't know.
I think he'd love it.
I don't know.
I think he'd love it, and then we can get George this time. I think George would love it too.
Oh yeah, my little
That'd be
brother
fun.
would definitely do it.
But meeting your family,
I know
was a ton of
George doesn't mind getting dirty.
yeah, he doesn't mind that at all.
Yeah, Tony George though, I don't know. I don't think that would be his thing.
Yeah, as long as we got a few Georges there, we know it's going to be a party. So we had a ton of fun there. Your family, you know, from my viewpoint, it could be a little okay. It could be more than a little awkward being the only person who's not Arabic at an Arabic wedding, Arabic family. You know, there is an amount of awkwardness when I don't speak Arabic and you know I don't know all the cultural norms and the whole deal. But meeting your family, I feel like for the most part, a lot of your family was so welcoming, and I think that's part of Middle Eastern culture as well. Middle Eastern culture is typically so welcoming, and hospitality is huge, and so your family members, even at the wedding, they're like, "Come on, Jeremy," you know, trying to push me into the dance, and I'm like, no, you know, this is their thing, and they're like, "Nope, it's yours. Get in there." And I'm like, "All right, I'll teach them how to Urkel. What's up?" So. But meeting your family has been a favorite moment for me.
That's good.
That's been great, and I'm sure that's been a favorite moment for you too, right?
Yeah, well, it was nice to reunite because I hadn't seen my cousin. Oh my gosh, it's been forever. Like we've been connected on social media, but in person, probably when I was like 17, and I'm almost 40 now. So it's been a while.
You're getting old.
It's been a while.
Yeah. What about we were talking to our tour guide today, and we blatantly and bluntly asked and feel like we had a good enough rapport to actually do this. We asked, you know, what's the equality of women and men in the country? And she shared with us, she's like, oh, it's 50-50 now. So I think that's another great thing that the Egyptian culture has grown to the point that there's more equality in the genders. And so we were telling her, oh man, that's incredible.
That's awesome.
You know, Egypt at one point was known as
the male provided, the wife stayed home, take care of the kids, and was the homemaker. Right?
But
which is still common now these days.
And probably don't Google this stuff up or anything, but Egypt was the #1 country for female genital mutilation and you know things along those lines. I mean, Egypt was known for those things, and to know that the equality is balancing out. And she's been a tour guide for 16 years now, university graduate. You know, that was really good to hear from her. That was great to hear that things are in balance. So I think with George and I. Who was asking me? Your cousin Danny George was asking me. He's like, you know, like who runs things in your relationship, right? Was it Danny George or did I tell you about?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't know. We just both do. We
consult
have
with
roles.
Each other, and yeah.
We talk over everything. Like even if it's a business decision that I already know what I'm doing, and I've already made up my mind, I don't just do things without going, hey George, what do you think about this? So she may disagree with me, but she's had
9 out of 10 times I'm like, okay, great, sounds good.
She may disagree with me, but I want to hear that vantage point of that she disagrees and what she thinks and how she feels, to then go, okay, I'll take that into consideration, but you know, this is the route I think I need to go. But that doesn't cause contention for us. I was telling your cousin, I was like, we it's like, I don't think a relationship is 50-50. I've never ever thought a relationship is 50-50. A healthy relationship should always be 100-100. You're both 100. In 100%. And we both play roles, such as I edit the videos and you do all the thumbnails. And so we both have roles, but the two come together to create the finished product.
Yeah. And there's been times where you're in a crunch and I've had to edit videos.
Yeah.
So I've done that.
And we both have roles, like all the crazy jokes that people think are rude or inconsiderate or inappropriate. Those are all your ideas, and then you go, Jeremy, say this, and then I do, and they
And
make
then you get in trouble
and
for
they
it.
make snide comments, and I always tell her, I was like, oh my goodness, they actually knew this is all you, and but because you're George, that you can get away with it, but you make me say it.
The crowd's
so.
more forgiving because it came from me.
But you're making me say it. But that was cool to see that things are changing culturally in that way as well. What about the police tour of the castle? How was that for you?
That was pretty cool.
The dude was awesome.
If you haven't
He
seen
really
the castle
was.
video, you have to see it. It's in Alexandria. It used to be one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world.
It's a citadel, but
remnants
it's easier
of it.
for us to just put in a title castle because most
Yeah.
people have no clue what a citadel is. So
No
we
one
put
calls
castle.
it that anymore.
And you guys probably don't know what a citadel is. So we're using terminology. A lot of our titles are based on what people search
Common
for.
terms.
Common terms
Yeah.
that people would know around the world. Because our videos are watched around the world. So it's a citadel, but we put castle.
So the part where the Egyptian police officer mentions that they pour boiling hot oil on their enemies in like this little area, I thought that was interesting.
You know what I thought was interesting?
Because when I think battle, I think like weapons, whether it's the cannonballs
Don't
or
you
like
come after me with hot oil now.
bullets or arrows. Like I've never seen hot oil, not even in the movies of them doing that to their enemies.
You are watching the wrong movies. You got to get off of them Hallmark videos. You know what I thought was interesting? The mummy exhibit. And when I show that video and we're in the museum, you're like, there are people who are actually making comments. Jeremy, you're so rude and inconsiderate. You're making jokes while George is trying to tell us the true history. Oh my goodness.
Well, we like to joke around.
No, they think you're telling the real
Oh.
history of the objects in the video. They have no concept.
I am sharing the history.
Made up history. You're joking just as much as I am.
I think I'm twisting the humor in with like the real facts of the item.
It's 4 a.m. If you open the door, they can hear the speakers.
We
open
have
it.
to hop off soon, but you should give them a view of our balcony.
We'll open the
Yeah.
door real quick.
Take the camera out there.
I can't open the door real quick.
Oh, that you want me to?
That would be why I said it 5 times
Okay.
now.
Can you scoot over so I can
I can't.
scoot over to this side, please?
Yep, I can do that. I can do that. Where are you going?
Out to the balcony.
I'm gonna play them a little
Yeah.
music. Oh, the speaker stopped.
No, it's still going.
It's 4:30.
You guys can see the mount right there that's lit up. That's like the Grand Canyon of Egypt. You can kind of hear the speakers going.
Can they hear it?
I don't know. It's kind of faint. It's hard for me to even hear it.
So those are the Islamic
Like the
sounds,
chanting,
the chanting,
of, like,
the prayer chanting.
prayers, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been an hour and 40 minutes. You want to keep going or you want to sign off, Chief?
Almost. One more thing.
Oh, they're saying they kind of heard it a bit.
I can still hear it right now.
Yeah, you might be able to still hear it in the background.
Sounds like moaning dead goats, if you've ever heard that. George told me to say that, by the way. That was her joke.
I did.
Well, I'm gonna get in trouble if I don't say it was you. If you said it was you, then it's fine. It's been really cool.
JK said he's a chief now.
It's been.
It's. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think a lot of people said that they can hear it.
I can still hear it right now.
Yeah.
That
So
breeze feels good.
That's something we're definitely not going to miss about Egypt, by the way.
Not at all. It's we should all be sleeping right now. It's 4. What time is it in the morning in Egypt? Okay, it's 4:42.
They can't see that.
It's 4:42 in the morning here in Egypt, and That's all going off right now. Normal people sleep, except we're not normal. We are not normal. What else were you gonna say as far as favorite things?
Oh, we got to meet one of the pastors that like has been escorting my family
Abuna.
around. So that's been a blessing.
One of the coolest things ever.
He's gone above and beyond for my family.
Never thought I would be in Egypt and actually meet a Christian pastor, and yet your aunt is friends with, you guys keep calling him Abuna, which means pastor, right? So your aunt met him in California, and he's a pastor of a church here, Assembly of God Church here in Cairo. He's up in New Cairo, I think, and a church of 1,000 members. So not only did I not think I was ever going to meet a Christian pastor here in Egypt, I never thought I would meet a Christian pastor with 1,000 believers in the church as well. And so he and I had a half-hour ride, and I got to ask him all about when he accepted Christ as his Savior, about his faith, about his church, about, all of these things, working in ministry, which most of my vocational life has been full-time ministry. So never in a million years did I think that was going to happen. And never in a million years, I said it to George again. Today we were watching the sunset, and I said 3.5 years ago, I would have never in a million years thought I'd be here with you in Egypt. And never in a million years did I think I would be meeting a new friend. And Abuna kept telling me, he's like, so Abuna and I were talking, and we were sharing our salvation with each other, our stories. And he goes, "You're my brother! You're my brother!" And so I'm like, "Yeah, I'm your brother." And so that was a ton of fun. That was a ton of fun too. And seeing really seeing the Bible come alive in different aspects and areas, that is just absolutely incredible. But Abuna actually, the pastor, he was, I don't know if I told you I gave him $100 too, right? Like he has gone above and beyond to keep me safe with military police just interrogating me for no reason whatsoever except that I'm American. He has the ability to get us where we need to be.
Oh, security wouldn't let my brother through because he had a camera.
Because he had a camera.
And so while
for a
he
half
picked
hour.
us up and we found parking, we were gone for about a half hour. He showed up on the scene, said 2 words to security, and he finally let him go.
Boom, let him in.
And my aunt was like trying to get my brother to go through, and was like, "Why won't you let him through? Like, it's just a camera." And he shows up on the scene, says 2 words, and we're in.
So that's been really sweet blessings.
Too.
And
yeah.
so I at the night of the wedding, because Abuna took care of me most of the day, because you were with all the girls at the wedding. I was with Abuna and Tony George and Danny George.
Yeah, we Ubered to the hotel to get hair and makeup done, and then the pastor brought my aunt there, and then he took you back to where my brother and cousin were.
So
then all the guys just hung out for the day.
And he introduced me to new Arabic foods and kushari
and basbousa.
It looks like kushari when it comes out too. That was bad, but
kushari,
so I'm thankful for salad
beans
again.
In the kushari.
I'm thankful for salad again too. That's all I'm saying. But at the end of the night, so I told George, I was like, I don't feel like I need to tip him, but I still want to be a blessing to him because he was such a blessing to us. So just at the end of the night, went and grabbed a $100 bill, and I folded it up in my hand. I went over to his door before we left in our
He
Uber.
grabbed the extra crisp one.
And so I slapped his hand, and I said, "Oh, thank you so much. You're such a blessing." And then put it in his hand. He's like, "No, no, no." I was like, "Yes, yes, yes." He's been a tremendous blessing. So that's been great as well.
Hopefully we'll get to see him again and attend one of his services before we go.
Yeah, we told him I want to attend his church
Friday evening
before we go back to the United States. Which here in Egypt, their Christian church services are like every night, every day. So I was asking him, I was like, "So when are your services?" He's like, "Always. We never not have a service." So that was pretty cool too. Which that reminds me of, New Testament church, when Acts chapter 2, when the church is established, and I mean they gathered together nonstop, praising, worshiping, praying, and it really reminds me when he said that. He's like, "Oh man, every day we have church every day." I was like, "Wow, this is the beginning of the church." Pretty cool stuff.
Wow. That's how you said it?
You know what? It's late. It's 5 a.m. I didn't sleep. You
Wow.
did. You did.
All right, guys.
It's my turn to sleep. I'm the one that's getting cavities searched. I'm the one that's
Sunday
getting
fun day.
patted down and frisked.
You are.
And not by you. And, you know.
It's been one hails of an experience.
I feel violated.
For this one.
I feel violated. I haven't been banned yet.
We haven't been banned yet.
Haven't been banned yet.
Which is a good thing. So we still have countless days here in Egypt. So it could happen.
Tuesday's video. Don't miss it. You're going to see some of the most spectacular things ever.
Oh, it's incredible.
And I'm going to give a little bit of a teaser because Thursday's video, we have a 4 a.m. hot air balloon flight over Egypt and
over the Nile.
We're going to watch the sunrise, and that'll be on Thursday's video. I guarantee you, you are not going to want to miss Tuesday's video, Thursday's video, Saturday's video. This week of videos will be some of the most amazing things you've ever seen. And we're showing you things that you can't normally see. For example, Tuesday's video. Did you know that there's actually hieroglyphic, what should we call it, George?
Swords.
There's hieroglyphic.
There's fertility hieroglyphics.
Nudity. We'll call it that. Male nudity.
It's rated R hieroglyphics.
You've never seen it in any single documentary, and we said, hey, what the hell's? Let's show it.
Well, it'll be another Easter egg that you guys can try and see yourselves. We're not going to blatantly just point it out.
Oh no,
you're going to have to.
George very blatantly points it out. Very, very blatantly. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought it was only for the picture.
I wasn't going to tell him about the picture.
You're going to add the picture?
I'm not going to add the picture. I wasn't even going to tell him about that.
Yeah,
I promise you, you're seeing things in Egypt that you have not seen anywhere else, things they haven't shown. We're trying to show you different aspects of the culture, and really we're trying to document our own scrapbook of our life, and invite you guys along for the ride and show you things that you normally have not seen in a way that you've never seen it before as well.
Yeah.
It's tasteful. I promise it's tasteful as we show anything. It's not, it's, the kids can still watch. So as with, you know, even like the old cartoons, there was always the side humor, the backdoor adult humor, but kids could still watch. What the Hales is kind of like that. There is some adult humor, and you'll be able to pick that out, but it's still safe for the whole family.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. All right.
You want to do mail now?
What are we gonna open? What did we bring with us?
Hopefully you got me a Valentine's card or something. What are you
I'm fist pumping everyone that's watching right now.
She hits me too. I understand.
I packed this
just
in
to
my
hit me.
fanny pack to bring to Egypt.
But
I did not bring any fan mail.
You didn't bring any. We do have fan mail back in Ohio,
but
we're not going to get to it until we get back into Ohio. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a little bit of a while. Don't miss this week. I promise you. You do not want to miss this week.
Of fun
Some of the most incredible stuff I've ever seen in my life. And I get to look at her every day. So I mean, that's saying something. You.
Even if your face is all poofy from eating salty junk food.
I don't know. Why's my hoodie wet? Why's my hoodie all wet? Why can't my milk come out of my fingers?
Why can't I feel my fingers?
Oh, good times. Good times. Good times.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. We will try and go live, probably not Wednesday, right? Wednesday's been too difficult.
Wednesday we couldn't this past Wednesday because we're in transit. And so we're in a position to where we could go live here tonight. And that works best for us because we're taking a day off tomorrow. So we can be up late tonight. And then tomorrow I can sleep in.
Up at 4 a.m.
4 a.m. on Tuesday.
Not because of the singing that's still going on.
Tomorrow for most of you guys. Tomorrow is today for us right now. It's 5+ a.m. in Egypt. So today we're taking a day off because I have so much editing to do for the videos, and And so it's easier for us to be up late tonight, and then I'll crash during the day tomorrow. And then Tuesday morning, 4 a.m., hot air balloon ride over the Nile, over the mountains, and you're going to get to see.
Over the Valley of the Kings.
You're
So
going to
it's
get to
great.
see the actual sunrise.
We're dropping
on
so many
Egypt.
hints right now that
Yeah,
you guys
probably too
can
many
figure
hints. You know
out
what?
where we are.
Probably way too many hints. We probably should just cut this right now. We should probably stop. Say goodnight, George.
Good night, everyone. Love you.
Mwah!